Hey everyone, so I am coming in to give an update on the status of my alopecia. So I saw my dermatologist earlier this week, and I was so pleased with the update, but I'm going to go back to the beginning for those that may not have already listened to my story on this. So I was filming some content and I leaned over to pick something up from the floor and then to hold it in front of the camera and speak about it. And then afterwards, I was editing the video and noticed that I had about a golf ball size spot where I could see straight through my hair and see my scalp. And I'm like, this is not normal. Something is going on, and I've just been missing it. So I made an appointment to see my dermatologist, went in and told her, and she said, Angela, you've got a lot of hair. I don't know about this. And then she stopped talking, and I'm like, she just saw the spot. She just saw the spot. So ultimately, the diagnosis was alopecia, ccca, and it is a scarring type of alopecia. It does tend to happen more so to Black women than to others, but ccca stands for central, centrifugal, cicatricial alopecia. Um, and again, it's a scarring type of alopecia, but understand the word alopecia just means hair loss. So it's an umbrella term to speak about hair loss. And there are many different kinds of alopecia, and the treatments vary. So it really has to be unique to you, but I can share with you what has worked for me and what has not worked for me. And that's the gist of sharing my story. I am going to add probably on this side a picture of what my hair looked like at my first dermatologist appointment when was getting a closer view of what the hair thinning was looking like. And this type of alopecia, it starts here and then it starts spiraling outwards. And then it continues becoming larger unless a treatment is started. But over time, the thinning will continue and the spiraling outwards will continue as well. So with this particular type of alopecia, ccca, one of the first things you need to do is to address the scar tissue because it's possible that your hair is indeed growing, but the scar tissue is preventing it from pushing through the scalp and actually being visible on your scalp. And so I started with injections of lidocaine and a steroid. And that's once a month for 6 months that you have the injections done. And it's multiple injections throughout the area where the ccca is. And then you go through a waiting period for 3 months. And so during this time, you want to know, you want to wait and see, is hair pushing through the surface of your scalp? Meaning that you have the ability to grow hair. It just couldn't find its way up because the scar tissue was keeping it down. And so when I went back in for that appointment, I was so excited because I had hair coming through. So that meant that I was capable of regrowing hair in that area. It just needed some help. It needed some help to push through the scalp to get through the scar tissue. So thrilled. And so at that appointment, she also wanted me to add in, so I had started taking Nutrafol. So I cannot forget about my Nutrafol. So this is women's balance that I take. So this is for women, dealing with hormones with menopause at my age. So that's 4 capsules daily that I take of the Nutrafol. Now, I always encourage my customers to take pictures to accumulate all their shed hair and to take pictures of that shed hair at the end of their wash day. So I use a shower drain, a trap on my shower rather, where it's keeping the hair from going down the drain because I want to capture that volume and then whatever is in my detangling comb, detangling brush, and that sort of thing. And so I accumulate it all up and then I take a picture of it with my cell phone. So it gives me a factual record of just how much hair I lost on that particular wash day. So it takes all the emotion out of it. You don't have to wonder or think or guess, maybe it's getting better or maybe it's getting worse. I'm not quite sure. So you can just do a very simple look and see and compare over time. And when I hit 3 months on the Nutrafol, my shed volume was cut in half. So I was thrilled at that. I remember thinking that I may have forgotten to get the hair out of the shower drain, that maybe I had gotten it from my detangling comb and brush, but the rest of the hair was still in the drain. And then I look and no, I had indeed already emptied it, and this was the pile of hair. So I knew that my shed hair was cut in half 3 months in with the Nutrafol, which is about the timing that the company says it takes for you to expect to see significant results. And so I was quite pleased with that. And so now going back a minute to being treated for the ccca. Um, and so I was very pleased when I did that follow-up appointment and could see hair coming through, see that baby hair coming through. And what they wanted me to add to my regimen was minoxidil, so Rogaine over the counter, and they wanted me to use the 5%. So I started with the foam, and I didn't like the foam because it continues growing. You're supposed to treat your scalp. You're not supposed to get the foam on your hair, and it does leave a sticky residue if it gets on your hair. So I'm really trying to lay it into the area, but the foam just kind of does its thing. And so I was frustrated with that. I was thrilled when I saw that there was a serum that had the 5% minoxidil in it as well. So it's much easier with the dropper bottle to just lay the dropper right into where it needs to be and then to massage it into the scalp. Made it much easier to treat. But I started having problems with itching. And so it was just kind of making me crazy, doing all kinds of ridiculous scratching. You don't want to do that because, that kind of scratching is going to affect your scalp. You could damage your scalp, just from the fingernails. And so talked to my dermatologist again at another follow-up appointment, and I'm like, okay, the foam was just too much. The serum is leaving me scratching. And so then she wanted me to then try minoxidil oral. This is a prescription. And I started with, let's see, this is a 2.5 milligram tablet, but of course I cut it into fourths because she only wanted me to take a fourth of the capsule. And so I have been doing this now for 2 months now, just shy of 2 months now that I've been doing the minoxidil. And so this is very effective for growing hair, but it can be effective for growing hair in places where you really don't want hair growing. And if it was my eyebrows, great. I had that moment 3 lifetimes ago where I overplucked and they still have not grown back in. So, that would have been amazing. Lash is amazing, but this is where you tend to grow a lot of the hair. So I do spend a lot of time plucking. At this point, I am okay with it. I've even seen some posts by people saying that they feel like they're turning into a man, but hey. So I am continuing with this particular path. Now, also what I do, are a series of supplements that I take. So there are a few that I do. So I am doing some, in addition to the Nutrafol, which is supplements, it does have some additional items in it. Does have some additional items in it, but in addition to this, I do vitamin C, I do vitamin D, zinc, and then folic acid. So this is the combination of supplements that I am taking, and this combination is working very well for me. I am pleased at the overall thickening of my hair. I've always had fairly thick hair. The actual hairs themselves are a finer texture, so they're not coarse, but the density, let me say it that way, the density of my hair. So this is the number of hairs per square inch, has always been fairly robust for me. And so I am seeing a bit more density happen. So I'm quite pleased with that. The length is continuing, so I'm pleased with that. And this area is really, truly filling in. And so I am letting you see real time my scalp. So you can take a look at what's happening up here. Quite pleased with it. And again, I'm going to add the picture of what on the first visit with my doctor back when the alopecia was diagnosed. I'm going to add that picture so you'll have that as a comparison. But really, truly, you can see I am thrilled with the difference that this is making. Now, something else that I also do is I do still use organic pumpkin seed oil. Pumpkin seed oil is loaded with phytosterols. They are a type of antioxidant, and phytosterols help with growing hair. They also help with blocking DHT, which is it is a hormone, but it does cause hair loss. And so organic pumpkin seed oil is very good for blocking DHT, so that it helps with growth. So very pleased with this particular regimen that I do. Now, something else that I add in is I'm also doing, I use fenugreek and amla extracts. I mix them up either in sunflower seed oil or I mix them up into the pumpkin oil, and I use it as a hair treatment. So that's generally like a pre-shampoo treatment that I use them for. So I have added that in as well. So this course of treatment is working very well for me, but I just wanted to give you the update. Now, if you are experiencing hair loss, again, the first thing I encourage you to do is you need to find out what's causing your hair loss. Is it an illness? Is it a drug? Is it for some type of treatment that you're going through, like chemo or radiation? So is that really the source of the hair loss? It is always easier to treat the source of the hair loss if you know why you're experiencing the hair loss. Because what works for someone may or may not be as effective for you if the causes of the hair loss is different. So if you are using a lot of glued in hairstyles or a lot of tight styles, and then this is where you're experiencing the hair loss, then you need to try some hairstyles that are not tight, that are not glued in, to help you recover. Years in 2017, was experiencing a widening part in my hair. Well, that turned out to be a vitamin D deficiency. My primary care physician, her standard labs that she would run when I would see her once every 6 months included vitamin D. And she found that I was actually deficient, very deficient in vitamin D. And so for that particular course of treatment, I started on a vitamin D supplement. And it's also why I'm continuing, because I want to make sure that I am staying, fully geared up on my vitamin D, because vitamin D can also be a cause for concern if you're experiencing a lot of fatigue. And I was at that same time, but we're always tired. It seems like we're always tired, so we don't just run to the doctor because we're tired. And so that has been a huge help with energy as well as helping my hair when I was experiencing that widening part. So, so it's really key to understand. So is yours relating to styling practices? Like I said, the illness, or treatment for a certain type of illness? Is it hormones? Is it menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, or something in between? And then where exactly are you experiencing the hair loss and the thinning? Is it the crown, which is so very common, but the edges? The edges are also a fairly common area too. And so that is how you can get the best step forward on coming back from hair loss. But I never want you to feel that you're alone. If you've got questions, drop them below. Or if you wanted some additional information on why I may have chosen the mix of supplements that I did, and it's because C is an amazing antioxidant in general. And so I like to make sure that I'm up on my vitamin C. The Nutrafol, I can't even speak to that enough as far as helping with the shedding. I added in the zinc because that is indeed key in hair loss as well. I've already talked about the value of the D. The folic acid for me has to do with another medication that I am taking that can cause hair loss. So I need to take that other medication at this particular point in time. And folic acid is the recommended course to help prevent that medication from causing hair loss. So that's why the folic acid was added in. And I actually take a prescription-based folic acid because my doctor wanted it to be an exact amount as opposed to whatever the levels or the volumes were that's available in store. And again, pumpkin, because pumpkin has served me so well and served so many of my clients so well. I have several clients using pumpkin on their hair right now, and they are experiencing a volume thickening, and they are quite pleased with it. So I stayed true with keeping my pumpkin going because of those phytosterols and because of its ability to block DHT, which can be a hair loss hormone. So that works very well for me. And then the fenugreek and amla was added in. I found that I loved the way my hair would take on shine from doing the fenugreek and amla as a pre-shampoo treatment. So this was something that I started so many years ago as well. And it is still something that is working very well for me. So I'm still continuing. So again, you've got questions, don't hesitate to drop them below. We can chat further. I've got, there's a few different ways that I can help you, as if you are experiencing some type of hair loss or thinning. I have a hair quiz. There is some course content that I have as well. So drop a note below. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me as well. But thank you so much for joining.